famously unfamous. Famously unfamous. What is famously unfamous? You ever ask somebody, what legacy do you want to leave on this earth after you're gone? Do you just want to merely exist, or do you really want to make an influence and an impact on the communities that you serve? So that, in turn, is what makes you famously unfamous. You're not specifically entertained with the idea of being just famous, but you're intentional about making an impact in the communities that you serve, thereby leaving a legacy that will ultimately create fame for you. Famously unfamous. That's who we talk to on this show. Famously unfamous. Become a person of influence more than you want to become a person of fame. That's it. Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Famously Unfamous. I am that man Channing, and today we have a special show. We have a show specifically for those of you who are looking and seeking out how to properly build a brand. That's a big item, ticket item actually in today's age. Everyone enjoys a brand. Everyone understands what a brand looks like, but ultimately there are a lot of people who are left in the dark about how to actually build a brand and what that looks like. So I brought on a special guest who specializes in how to build a brand. He built his brand. He teaches others the techniques and the understanding behind the power of a brand and the impact of a brand. And I'm fortunate enough to get him on the show to actually share with you guys how that goes. My guest today is John McCann. For those who don't know him or don't follow him on social media, John McCann is the founder of a clothing brand called Nave. Nave is a lifestyle brand that launched in 2016. And at its core, the purpose is spreading inspiration through quality clothing. And what I think is so dope is the hook of the whole brand is, when you actually make a purchase or order from Nave, you can actually send a customized quote on a clothing item to any purchase, to any person actually that you choose to, with a quote of inspiration or positivity to anyone you want. So that person that's on your mind, they get not only a free article of clothing, but they also get a personalized message specifically for them. So who else do you know in the clothing industry is allowing you to do something like that? So that's the type of clothing brand that this guy has created. And we're here to just talk to him about his concepts. So please welcome to the show, John McCann.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for having me, Channing. I'm really excited to share with y'all today, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm excited to get into this. But for anyone out there who's questioning what goes into just the title of entrepreneurship, a brand, a business, so on and so forth, what people want to really know, or people want to really connect with those who've done it, what is the worst story that you have about when you started out?
Man, I tell you what, man, when you think about entrepreneurship, it has this thing now where people look at it as all glamorous, and it's like, entrepreneurship, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. But for me, being an entrepreneur came with a lot of sacrifices. I had to move back home. I had to put my business in my parents' garage. And I had to take all the money that I had saved up, while other friends are traveling, other friends are buying the new shoes, other friends are doing this. I literally, for like 2 to 3 years before I launched Nave, I didn't go anywhere, because I had to save my money for the launch. But a story that I can share that, during the early stages of Nave, when I went to go into production. So as Channing, thanks for sharing it with everybody, man. You know, Nave is a socially responsible brand. All our pieces, our tagline is handcrafted for the bold. So we believe in providing premium clothing while allowing our customers to inspire others. So for us, you know, I wanted to find a manufacturing company that will make our pieces. So I got online, I did a lot of research, and I found a list of companies. So I was going down the list of companies trying to find somebody who I can work with to create our clothes. And this was actually in 2015. Trying to find somebody who can make our clothes. And then I was going down the list and I called this one lady and she answered the phone. And this lady sounded so nice. She was from up north in Illinois. And she sounded so nice. And I was asking her questions. I was like, you know, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to make. And this lady, I cold called this lady and she stayed on the phone with me for about an hour and a half, breaking everything down. So I'm thinking, wow, you know, this lady, I call her, she doesn't know who I am. She takes an hour and a half on an impromptu phone call to give me the rundown of how everything is going to go. So I decided, like, all right, I'm going to take, you know, this $4,000 or $5,000 that I had saved up, and I'm going to work with this lady. I'm going to work with her on developing my first collection, and I'm excited because she sounded like she knew what she was talking about. Well, Channing, fast forward, about 6 months later, I still didn't have the pieces. She had sent me some sample pieces that were in bad shape. I kept trying to get her to change it. When I tell you one of the worst experiences I could possibly have, none of the clothes came out like I want them. None of the fabrics were like I want them. She moved 10 times slower than she said she would move. And really, my goal of launching it, you know, in 2015, top of 2016, really got delayed. It got pushed back. All the way, I honestly got pushed all the way back to 2017. In 2016, I had the concepts and everything. I got the company incorporated, but really working with this lady pushed me back tremendously. And I share that because once that happened, man, you know, when you have all this money that you've invested and you trusted somebody to help you get your business plan off the ground, and it doesn't go as well as you think, man, you know, you feel like giving up.
Right.
You know, I spent, you know, I was working, this was on my side, I still had another job, but this is a dream that I had, and I had spent all this money and all this time working with this lady, and then honestly, at the end of the situation, I literally got nothing in return. Nothing but a lesson learned. And that's something, as an entrepreneur, you have to know, like, even when it looks like it's not going well, you can always learn a lesson from that. And my lesson that I learned from that I want to share with other entrepreneurs or people who are inspiring to be entrepreneurs is that you have to do your research. And I'm going to get into that a little later on when I talk about building a brand. But I was so naive. You know, I was so, you know, optimistic. I was so, you know, just eager to get the company off the ground that I didn't do my due diligence and actually research this lady and see if there's any other brand that she had successfully worked with. So what I ended up doing was falling in a trap that caused me to push everything back a year. I had to save up more money. And it was a really, really hard time. And it really taught me a valuable lesson that I still even use to today. You know, if I want to work with somebody, I want to know who have they worked with before.
Right.
You know, because if you have a business or a service or a product that you're trying to provide to the marketplace, you know, unless it's a close friend that you really trust, you really want to find somebody that knows what they're doing and that's already done it and that has a proven track record. Because what I found as an entrepreneur, just in life in general, you got a lot of people that know how to talk the talk, but don't know how to walk the walk.
Right.
So yeah, that's just a quick story for me of just the struggle, you know, in the early stages of Nave, where I was just naive and I trusted somebody I shouldn't have trusted. And entrepreneurs out there, you're going to run into business situations where you work with people and it doesn't go like you want it to go. But still keep pushing, keep moving forward, take it as a learning lesson, but do your due diligence and research before you work with somebody so you won't end up pushing your launch back a whole year, having to save another $5,000. So that's one of my lessons that I learned early on nowadays.
Wow. If that was the end of the story, that would literally be, you know, 90% of the population, where that one instance wiped out your entire pursuit, your confidence, everything like that. But fast forward to 2018, you're still here and you're still going. So obviously, with that story, that your version of that story has happened to the majority of every entrepreneur. But those who continue to move on and press forward, they just have a different mindset. So that mindset coupled with that learning lesson, if you will, what is the difference between the mindset of, well, that's not for me and I'm just going to hang it up, and the person who says, lesson learned, let's keep moving?
Yeah, the mindset really is a mindset of commitment, right? It's a mindset of saying that, I'm committed to this business. I'm gonna give it my best. And when you're committed to something, that means that even when things don't go your way, or even when things are hard or things are challenging, you still decide that you're gonna persevere through difficult times. And as an entrepreneur, that has to be something that you do. And also another mindset is your why. As an entrepreneur, you have to have a why. For me, starting Nave was bigger than me. I felt like I wanted to create a brand, fashion brand that can really touch and reach customers, where they not only will look nice, but they will also feel good about purchasing with us, because they're able to inspire others and be inspired. So for me, and for the entrepreneur that runs into the difficulty and quits versus the one who keeps pursuing, really boils down to that commitment and then focusing on that why. I find that people that don't have a solid why, and the why could be anything. It can be, you enjoy. It can be you want to give back. It can be you're trying to create a better future for you and your family. It can be, it's all types of whys, but you have to have a why that will keep you going and keep you committed when the times get hard, because I guarantee you times are going to come where you're going to want to throw in the towel, where you're going to want to quit, where you're going to want to give up. And during those moments, you have to remember that you're committed to it, and you have to remember the why. And for me, that was my mindset. So that's why I was able to persevere and keep on continuing to pursue the business. And those who are in that same mindset are able to do that. But if you don't have that mindset, you don't have that why, and you don't have that commitment to it, then you're going to fall by the wayside when any type of challenges come. So, I'd say the why and the commitment are like the roots. The wind might blow, a couple branches might break, but as long as you stay rooted in the commitment and you stay rooted in the reason why you started, then that tree, that branch will grow back out. But what happens is when you uproot and you don't have firm roots, when that wind blows or you run into that difficulty and the branch breaks, you say, oh shoot, the branch got broken, you lift up your roots out the ground and then you end up dying. Right. So that's in the mindset.
Point taken. Listen, it's going to happen. Adversity is going to come, but you just keep persevering. And as long as you have that commitment, as long as you have that the why down, and if the why speaks to you, then you're going to continue to go, and it'll turn around. You just have to keep going. You have to press through. Good advice. So let's really get into it. For a brief moment, a lot of people who may not know you, know your brand. Give us the background of John McCann, leading up John McCann before Nave, and what sparked John McCann to create Nave.
Okay, definitely. So I went to Loyola University in New Orleans, and I studied business there. And my freshman year, I decided to do a business plan. We had to do a business plan for a class project on a t-shirt company. So I did it, and my teacher loved it. She was like, John, this is great. You should really do it. So for the fun of it, me and some friends started a t-shirt company when I was a sophomore in college. Didn't know it at the time, but EROS stands for Sexual Erotic Love. So then I changed it to acronym. Everyone rises over struggles, and I ran with it. And to my surprise, my second year in operations, I did $50,000 in revenue. And what really triggered me to start it, to be 100% honest with you, Channing, was that there was another company. I love fashion first off, but there was another company in New Orleans, and they had a big fashion line. And literally, all they did was make shirts with lips on it, like people's lips. And there was different colors. It was the craziest, most bizarre thing, but everybody loved it. And I was thinking, man, this has literally no purpose. I'll ask people, like, what does it mean? They're like, I don't know. So what really triggered me to start was like I wanted to create dope fashion, but I wanted to create fashion that had a purpose behind it. So make a long story short, in college I had a lot of fun with that. You know, I made overseas. It was a great experience, and I discontinued it my senior year, and I ended up work back Fifth Avenue, and getting a lot of different experience in the retail marketplace. And something kept burning in me after college that, hey, you need to get back into the fashion industry. You need to create clothes. You need to create clothes that can inspire people because there's a gap in the market for you. So one thing led to the next, man, and then that's what kind of got me to launching Nave, which is currently a very successful brand. We've been in operations now for a little over a year. By the end of this year, we're projected to do 6 figures in revenue, and it's just been growing very, very fast. We have a very strong online presence, and a very, very strong local support in the Louisiana region as far as people. So yeah, that's just kind of a little brief history of who I am, what triggered me to start the company, and just kind of where we are today with everything. So.
Gotcha. Man, that's a great story. Ideas literally are what brings value, and I love that. I love hearing that when people execute their ideas, they see the value, they see their place in the market, and they run with it. So if I'm the guy who's coming brand new and I'm where you were, say 2 years ago, and I'm saying to myself, hey, this guy's built a brand. What does it take to build a brand? How do you walk someone through that process?
Yeah, man. You know, there's 10 steps that I always go through when it comes to building a brand. Because I mean, building a brand is not an easy thing to do. And these 10 steps I'm sharing with everyone that's listening, I've found that these things have been very helpful for me. Number one is you have to figure out what your name is going to be for the brand. And with that comes research, because you want to make sure you're not choosing a name that's already being used. You know, you want to make sure you're getting things trademarked. You have your URL, you have your social media handles. So one thing that you have to think about is the name of the brand. A lot of people don't think about that. I have a friend who literally started a store in New Orleans, and they named it something, but there was another store that had that name already in the city. It was actually trademarked, so she had to shut down her store. So this yeah, it was crazy. So, you know, you want to, make sure you have a good name, and make sure you have it tagged, trademarked, the whole 9 yards. The next thing in building a brand, you want to define and determine your values. You know, you want to know what your mission statement is. Any brand, you look at Nike, you look at, any big successful brand, they know what their values are. Nave is a premium fashion brand that inspires. That's our values. So you have to look at your business or your brand you want to build and define what your values are going to be. Because what I've discovered is you need to know what your values are, because people who have the same values as you are going to be drawn to you because of your values. But if you don't know what your values are, then how's somebody else going to connect with you based off of their values? So you want to make sure that you determine what your values are. You want to define your value proposition. This is just basically your niche. What makes you different. You don't want to, if you start a brand and you're just like everybody else, this is, you're gonna get overlooked. So when you're thinking about starting a brand or building a brand, you need to make sure you know what your value proposition is, and then out of those things, then you need to make sure you know who your target market is.
Right.
Making sure you know who your customer is. If you want to make some lemon pies, you don't need to go to the diabetic clinic to try to sell the lemon pies. They can't eat the lemon pies.
Right. Right.
Who your target market is, because that's who you're going to be communicating to. That's the people who are going to be buying your stuff. Then another thing that you want to do in building a brand is make sure you do your research. Just research the market, research the industry. For me, I've researched. I know that the urban wear market is a $75 billion annual market per year. I've done my research. You need to do your research. How big is your market? How many customers out there? What does it take? What are people looking? Where are the gaps? Because a lot of mistakes that you would make, other people have already made, and if you research, you can save yourself a lot of time, money, and energy. Another thing I would say is, figure out what your branding elements are your tagline, your color, your logo. You want to make sure you have all of that stuff in place. And then I would say the last couple things in building a brand, I would say building your team is very important. You want to make sure you build a very strong team because you can't do it all by yourself. In the beginning stages, yes, you're going to have to do majority of the work, but as you grow, you're going to have to connect with other people. And even if you don't have somebody on quote unquote salary or staff, you need to make sure that you're working with strong people. Suppose you need a graphic made. You want to make sure you have a strong graphic person. Suppose you need a photo shoot. You want to make sure you have a strong photographer. So building your team is very important. And I heard a lot of successful brands and CEOs say that they spend a large amount of their time recruiting and hiring because that's how important your organization is. It's based on the people that you're working with, the people in the mix. And then the last couple things I would say is, co-branding. So if you have a business and you want to build a brand, find someone else that you can collaborate with. Co-branding and collaborating is a very big thing that can help you build your brand really fast. It can be in the same market as yours, but finding somebody that you think has similar customers to you. Maybe they provide the same service or product, maybe they provide a different service or product, but your target markets are similar, and you work with them. And what ends up happening is the people who support you find out about them, and the people who support them find out about you, and you can almost double your reach or your market or your potential clientele overnight with co-branding. And then the main thing is making sure you stay focused on the vision. If you want to build a brand, you have to know what your vision is, and you have to stay focused on that. You can't let anything distract you. I just got finished a 6-month cohort program down here in New Orleans for startup entrepreneurs. And they said, when time is limited, we're taught in school growing up in life that money is limited, but another limited resource that we never realize is focus. Focus is a limited resource. Wow. So if you want to build your brand, take these things I just said and make sure you focus on these things and execute these things, and then you can build your brand. The focus and the execution, that's where people usually fall. So that would be my advice to anybody listening that wants to build a brand.
Super dope. As you can see from that, if you take those steps, he's basically broke down everything that you need to build a brand, and that is the reason why he started off so successful in his business, and the sky's the limit. Like, this is something that, when you say research, this is research to a T. This is treating your business like a professional, going to work every day, studying how to be great. And one of the things you hit on, which is key, which was where people start out the most, which is building a team. I just got finished listening to a interview with Robert Kiyosaki. And he was speaking on he called it the Henry Ford factor, where I don't have to be the smartest guy on my team. My objective is to hire the smartest guy on my team so that I look better as well. But what he was saying is how a lot of people go into business with a do-it-all mentality versus studying to build a team, so that now you're not doing the workload, but you have people who have specialized talent in different areas to help the entire whole grow. So one of the things you said was, which brings me back to my point, which is the fact that you said if you can't have them on salary or if you can't contract them. So how do you leverage or get people to buy into your quote unquote vision or your product? How do you leverage that when the cash flow isn't there at that moment in time to help build what your brand is supposed to be?
Right, no, definitely. So, for me personally with Nave, and this is with any type of business endeavor, You have to look at what you have to offer. So you might not have cash to offer, but potentially you're working or you want to contract somebody who's extremely talented that doesn't have a resume. So it's like, you can make a deal, hey, you work with me, you can use my content, what you're doing for me for your resume. Maybe they're not looking to build their resume. Maybe it's somebody that's extremely, extremely talented, and you think they might be there for the long run, then, depending on the relationship and making sure that you kind of analyze the situation really well, it might be a thing to where they can come in as a partner, depending on what level. Like Facebook, when Facebook was started, the people who started with them, those people weren't getting paid, but they were getting a percent of the company. But it just depends on the nature of the business, it depends on the nature of the relationship, the actual work that needs to be done. But just trading what you have, looking and seeing what you have to offer. Maybe it's a connection with somebody. You might not have cash, but you don't have the cash. Seeing if there's something that you want to work with that you can help them get. But I also would say something else, that you want to find qualified people. So I also would say I don't think, if you just because you find somebody that's willing to do it for free doesn't mean that's the person you need to work with.
Right.
Just because you find somebody that's willing to do it to build their resume doesn't automatically mean that's the person you need to work with. You need to make sure that they're qualified. You need to make sure that their work is at the level that you're expecting for your level, for your brand, for your business. But in doing that, sometimes if you're intentional, you can find a person that is qualified, and then maybe potentially you can provide them something besides cash. Until your company or your brand gets to the place where you can pay them cash. So,
got you. Very good. Leveraging your what you have to give, your value, your talent, to assist, almost in a bartering type of system where you're just saying, hey, you do this for me, I can do this for you. Or on the next level, which you said, which is the where you take the time, the effort, and the research, which is you saying you bring someone into the organization where it's a partnership situation that they feel is a good fit, good opportunity, and you do as well. So that's definitely a good factor, man. What I really want to know is when you have this in mind about branding. And for you, for instance, you're in the clothing business. It is a huge market. You said 75 billion, I believe, in the urban wear.
Yeah.
Now that market, to do that amount per year means that a lot of companies are dealing in that market. Now the standout factor, how important is the ability to focus on competition versus what you're doing, meaning studying competition versus just being focused on you and hoping somebody finds you?
Yeah, I think that it's important for you to, in doing your research, to study the competition and kind of see what they're doing, especially if you have a similar target market as them. But at the end of the day, like I said, that's why I said at the beginning, you have to define your value. Because you might have some competition that's doing one thing, but that doesn't align with your values, and you end up trying to do that. You're going to lose the trust and the brand recognition that you've built with your current clients up to that point. So I think it's very important to kind of focus on your lane, know what other people are doing. Potentially there are some things you can learn from them that you can apply to what you're doing. But if you have your lane that's carved out, focus on your lane and focus on maximizing the lane that you're in. It is a very oversaturated market, but what I've discovered is so it's different for every business, but for me, once you gain the trust of a client or a customer, once Nave gets a customer, they have a great experience with us. They get the clothes and they like the clothes. They pay it for their free item. They follow and they get all of our content that we email out. They're a part of our story, part of our brand. Then when we release something else, they come back and they buy. And what I've seen and what's kind of helped me is focusing in my lane is being faithful and being diligent with the people that I do have. And what ends up happening is those people end up telling other people.
Right.
And then organically, you start having a lot of sales. I always say it's like, you have the most important person or group of people that you can focus in, or who have already spent money with you, making sure that they're in the loop with what's going on because they're more likely to follow with you. Another simple, practical thing is if you have a newsletter, and people sign up to be a part of your newsletter, those are potential customers. People who express interest, you can have loyalty programs. All these things you really want to, because the market's so big, but you really want to focus on the people that express interest.
Okay.
Because if you're focusing on everybody, you're not really allocating your time, energy, and resources as well as you need to be. So, for instance, if you have a group of 10 people, this is just a quick analogy, you have a group of 10 people, 8 of them have never heard of you before. 2 of them have heard of you and they've seen your stuff. You would be better off spending your energy and focus on those 2, and getting resources and content to those 2 people who have heard of you and who have expressed interest than those 8 who didn't. Because it'll be easier to convert those 2 into actual transactions than the 8 that have nothing to do with you. There's been a lot of research that says that it takes like 3 or 4 points of contact for a person to invest in an organization, a product, or a service. You just kind of want to keep that up because you're going to market differently to the person that's never heard of you than you are to the person that's aware that's in your database and knows your story. So marketing is not just one blanket thing. You're going to do just one thing. No, you have to market differently to different people within your purchase channel. So you have a purchase channel, and once people express interest, they put their email. Some people even actually put clothes in the cart, and then they abandon the cart. How I'm going to market to that person is going to be different than the person who's never heard it because this person is very close to actually being converted to a sale. So anyway, that's just a kind of quick overview when it comes to the question that you asked on as it relates to your lane. Know what others are doing, but be diligent with your lane, especially the people that have already expressed interest in you when it comes to marketing.
Got you. Man, these are nuggets. I mean, true nuggets that you're giving. One of the last things I really want to go over with you is in your experience. And I always ask this to anyone that I talk to in conversation that's doing positive things for them, their community, their culture, and aspiring to do more. When someone approaches you, they're always wanting to know about the information, how to build a brand, what's the target market. And you've given the audience that we have information. But the more personal thing I want to come across is how important in the piece of the pie, in the whole, when you look at it, how big is the EQ, IQ, and AQ? Which, for those who don't know what that is the emotional quotient, meaning your emotions, having them in check, your intellectual side, having that in check, and your ability to adapt. How important is that in building a brand, becoming an entrepreneur, building a business?
So it's very important, man. It's very important because I'll just speak from personal experience. We are emotional people, but when it comes to the intellectual side of things, that's where we get our data, And when you're building a firm, you shouldn't make decisions based off of your feelings, You have to make decisions based off of the intellectual data that you're being provided. And what happens is, and I'll give you a perfect example. When I did my first launch of my first line over a year ago, I was so emotionally excited that I just decided that I was just going to order just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of items straight out the gate.
Wow.
And I had nobody in my database. I didn't have any contact information in my database. This was before I had a newsletter. And to make a long story short, I ended up sitting on a lot of that inventory for a good minute before I was able to sell it. And then from there, I was able to take that information and adapt that to how I do my purchase story. So I say all that to say that you definitely, as you build your brand, you have to focus on the intellectual side. Now, of course, when it comes to emotions, when it comes to marketing, most people who buy, they do buy off of their emotions. So that's something to consider. But that's still even data. That's intellectual data, knowing that people purchase off of their emotions. So when it comes to like selling and marketing, of course, you want to create room to invoke people's emotions and stuff like that. But all I feel to say is that you have to be extremely adaptable, because sometimes what you feel like doing might not be the best thing for your business. And when you get to that situation, my mentors tell me this all the time: the numbers don't lie.
Right.
Numbers don't lie. At the end of the numbers are more numbers. At the end of your feelings, you don't know what it's going to be.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I would say on that topic.
Cool, man. Cool. Perfect information. Perfect answers. I can't say enough about. I found this guy. We were at a conference last month, actually. It was a men's conference here in Atlanta, where I'm at. John lives in New Orleans, and he gave actually a seminar on how to build a brand. That's where I got it from, actually. And ever since then, I was like, he would be a perfect guy to talk about this, because not only I thought you would be perfect for this show is because not only do you actually know how to build a brand and have successfully built a brand, but it's also what you do in the community as well, and how that brand gives back to the community. That's the part that I like, and that's what this show is about. It's about people who are not driven by fame and notoriety, but what they do actually equates to making them famous, because the impact that they show in their community and their culture sends a shockwave throughout that community. So that's what I enjoy. That's why I enjoy talking to people who make impacts who are just not in it for themselves, but in it for an impact, a true change in the culture. So John, I appreciate you spending your time. Guys, he said this was a Sabbath. That means that he's doing nothing today. But he took the time out to spend a couple of minutes with us to explain to us how to get better in life and how to think about things properly when we are going and we're stepping out on that ledge to pursue the things and the passions that God has given us, and how to properly execute it so it can be done in excellence. So, for John, man, I appreciate you for spending some time with us and dropping some jewels on us as well. Guys, look out for more content from Famously Unfamous, where we're seeking to grow the community, and we're seeking to grow and put a spotlight on individuals who are looking to be more impactful than they are being famous. So for this episode, that's all we have for today. Again, my name is That Man Channing. John, I appreciate you for being on. And absolutely. And we are out of here. God bless.